generational wealth is actually not about money. It is redesigning what that experience looks like in the next generation, which is all about being a unicorn leader. That unicorn is an acronym for unique, nimble, nurturing, inspiring, compassionate, optimistic, resilient, and noble. And so people who demonstrate those 7 traits, they're not jerks.
Welcome to this episode of Overwhelmed and Over It, the place where parent entrepreneurs get to be real about the beautiful, chaotic life that we're living every day.
You guys, her bio includes unicorn leader, so I am all in and I am so ready. I also love Kristi just reached right out to me and was like, your story resonates. I love everything that you share. Let's talk about it. And so I am all here for entrepreneurs who are just like, I'm putting myself out there and I'm talking about it. And so Kristi, do you want to introduce yourself to the Overwhelmed and Over It audience?
Yes, Gabs. Thank you so much. And hello, everybody in the overwhelmed and over it universe, which is probably like everybody in the entire universe. Yes, I'm super excited to be here and talk all things unicorn leader and branding and leadership. I grew up in a small town surrounded by cornfields. So no stoplight, no diversity, no room to express any type of emotion freely. I spent summers detasseling corn and navigating a world that felt really, really stifling, actually, most of the time. And I always felt like I was too much, which maybe others can relate to. I had no outlet really for any of my big ideas and dreams. And so when I hear somebody say, oh my gosh, she just put herself out there and here she is, it's really heartwarming to me because that is not the environment in which I grew up. And so I'm happy that I'm being able to show up in that way now.
Oh, I love that. And, I think that's really important because so often as entrepreneurs, right, we focus on where we're headed. We focus on the journey in front of us. And while I love the journey, and I think the journey is some of the greatest parts of this, because it's so unknown and you don't know what's on the other side of it. There is a lot to be said that where we came from and what we did prior to stepping into entrepreneurship really has a lot to do with how we show up or things that we have to work through. An example of that is just last night, I was relaxing and I got a text message from a friend of mine who was catching up on the podcast. And she's like, I'm not an entrepreneur, but I'm listening to the thing. And she's like, I feel like it's applied to my life. And I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah, because so much of this is about discovering who you are and who you want to be and what parts of your past do you want to take with you? What parts do you want to leave where they were in that chapter? And so, I think that's really beautiful, Chrissy, that, yeah, you didn't grow up in a spot where you could express yourself and you could be vocal and bold and all of these things because that wasn't the culture, but that doesn't mean that you can't create that going forward.
Yes, I like to say that generational wealth is actually not always or rarely about money, right? It is redesigning what that experience looks like in the next generation. And that actually ties really lovely into, what I do now, which is all about being a unicorn leader. A lot of people don't know that unicorn is actually an acronym for unique, nimble, nurturing, inspiring, compassionate, optimistic, resilient, and noble. And so people who demonstrate those 7 traits, first of all, they don't suck. They're usually not jerks, but they believe in the power of diversity and DEI and all the good things that we want to talk about. So leaders who are high EQ leaders are in fact unicorn leaders. And that's what my best-selling book talks about. And that's kind of what I go around and speak across the country to people and places that really want to make their leadership more human.
You call out it's a trait thing, right? And it doesn't necessarily mean a background. Doesn't mean you did this thing, so you're going to be successful, or you came from this industry, so you're going to be successful. And I know even in the beginning of my entrepreneurial journey, I got real caught up in that, right? Like I came from product management, I came from tech. So I watched all of these people who did leave their full-time careers in that space. They went on to build tech products. They went on to build digital products. And I wasn't doing that. And so I felt very disconnected because I much more am your type of leader. I'm
Yeah.
much more, I create safe spaces and I, create this room to be very vulnerable. It's interesting to navigate that own dynamic of what are your strong suits? What are your qualities? And how do you build something unique and special around that? And whether that's being a leader of your own business or being a leader of a massive team of a global organization, like whatever it may be, it's leaning into your skills that help you feel really successful.
Yeah.
But that leads me, Kristi, is there something that maybe going into entrepreneurship that was shocking for you that you thought you was going to be like a big win or that was going to make it easy for you? And you're like, wait, that's not been easy at all.
Oh my gosh. Yes, exactly. As far as the journey is concerned, the first thing is I just learned that nobody is going to give you permission to show up even bigger. Nobody is going to come to you with a little permission slip and say, hey, expand and do more. You have to really find that in yourself. And I really didn't think that I had imposter syndrome. I had made it to the C suite. I've had all the accolades. I've done many of the things. I made it to the summit, the pinnacle, the mountaintop. And I was like, ooh, y'all don't know how to behave. And so when I stepped outside of corporate America to start my own thing, I think I just assumed that because I had great relationships with so many of the people that I had led, that the business would just come. And the fact of the matter is, oh my gosh, that was not it at all. And so, one thing that has really helped me is just remembering my personal life and professional journey has been undergirded by fear not being the enemy. It's really a sign that I'm on the edge of growth. And so, I always tell people, whether I'm mentoring or sponsoring or leading, feel the fear and freaking do it any damn way. Okay. That motto has guided me through every single leap and allowed me to step into rooms, including even emailing you unexpectedly, right? Like, hey, I know you don't know me, but can we be friends and can I be on your show? Feel the fear and do it anyway and just own and claim the space. Like, our version and vision of ourselves expands to what we really think we can do. And so as I lean into really believing in the power of I can do whatever the hell I want, and I just have to find the right rooms and the people that are excited for me to be there, I am seeing opportunities present themselves right and left.
Yeah, and I think every no is actually a redirection or it's a lesson. And I remember being so scared of the no, right? Because
Yeah.
like when we had a 9 to 5 career, you would ask for something. A no was like a stop. That was no, you're not getting that promotion. No, you're not getting that budget. No, you're not getting the tool you need, whatever it may be. And so that puts your hands behind your back and you're like, okay, what do I do now? But in
Yes.
entrepreneurship, it's very different. A no really means nothing, right? I mean, it's like just keep going. A no just means go knock on the next door or go send the next
Yes.
message or go send the next whatever. And so it's been really interesting for me to see like how do I shift that in my own mind of I'm not afraid of that. And I think about my 4-year-old who, I mean, from the minute her feet hit the ground to the minute she goes to bed, it's like, can I, can I, can I, can I, can I? She does not care how many times we
Wow.
say no.
Oh my gosh. I love her. What's her name? I want to be friends with her. Like, that's
Yeah.
the energy we all need to carry in. And I think about what you just said was so validating and really close to my lived experience. I will never forget. I was getting a job offer, but before the CEO said to me, "This kind of seem like the kind of person that doesn't take no for an answer. So I need to know if you're going to join this organization that when I say no, you will stand down." And I looked at him and I thought, well, okay, let me gather myself. And then I said, I'm a disruptor. I'm a contrarian by nature. I will push back. Now, if you say absolutely not, that's different. But my job is to ask why, how, when, can we? Are you sure? Did you think about it this way? Why would you want anyone else? And you know what? Let me tell you, they really didn't want me. So we parted ways really quickly. And I should have known from that question, right? If I
Yeah.
say no, I need to know that you're going to stand down. I'm sorry. No, that's probably not going to happen. That's not what the best leaders are out there doing.
Yeah, it's so wild. My husband is a union contractor and my youngest one, the one who asks 24/7 for things, she has a slew of health issues, which means we deal a lot with health insurance problems. And luckily, I come from that world, so I know how to navigate it. And I just think for the people who don't know how to navigate it, I have so much sympathy for them because it takes up a good probably 10 hours of my week. And I just think
Wow.
it's so ridiculous. But my husband was getting so frustrated because he's seeing my frustration having to navigate this. And finally, I was like, "What's the problem?" And he's like, "What is it?" I was like, "The leaders of this company have worked there for 41 years and
Yeah.
35 years." I was like, "That's the problem
Yeah.
right there."
Yeah. That's the problem. And that's the problem in so many places, honestly, is antiquated ideas. I was on a podcast earlier today. They called them hippos, the highest paid opinion, which I had never heard, which I loved. And I'm just like, no, the next generation, the future of work, which is really where I play and spend most of my time, they're me and you, Gabs, on steroids. They're not having it. They will freaking Uber tomorrow as a job and DoorDash it before dealing with any man who's going to sit across from them and say, I need to know that you're going to stand
I love it though. And I love to know that that's where you focus on this next generation because my oldest is getting ready to go into high school. And I look at this next generation and I do a lot of talks and workshops like at universities. And I am electrified every time I talk to them because I'm with you. I mean, first of all, I think the word career is going to be antiquated for their generation and beyond because
Yeah.
there is not going to be this like, I am a product manager. I am whatever. Like they are just going to be doing things. They're going to be doing things that make them happy. They're going to be bringing in money in all these different ways, and they're just going to be living their best life. And I love that for them. And for anyone who doesn't want to see people live their best life, like, screw you. Like, why do
I-
you care what other people are happy? I don't understand it.
yeah.
Um,
Well, and when people are living their best life, they're producing their best work.
yeah, absolutely. But it's this, like you were saying, this like control. When I say no, you need to know. And it's like that's just that mentality. And so I think it's really interesting because I think we're gonna see over the next probably 10-ish years, we're going to see this guard change and this shift where, like, right now, I think we're seeing a mass exodus of people heading into entrepreneurship. And I think that that's getting ready to grow because corporate's not caught up yet. I think they're trying. And I think there's a lot of people like you who are out there really moving the needle and making a difference. But you're fighting a systemic problem. And that takes a long time to turn that ship around. So people are leaving and they're just making their own path, which is beautiful. And there's people like me who are there to help guide that way when they need that support. But I think there will also come a time where we see many companies staffed with nothing but fractional and part-time and, these kind of cobbled together teams. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean that in we bring in someone whose exact expertise is this one unique thing. And then we bring in someone else whose exact expertise is this other thing instead of, well, you're a marketer and I pay you for 8 hours a day. So sit here for 8 hours a day and just find something to do. Like that's not serving anyone anymore.
It's not. And it's expensive. It's inefficient. Nobody's feeling bought into the other, 30 hours a week of their work. And it's interesting you say, one of the things that I do is I help people step outside of corporate and build their portfolio career. And the idea of a portfolio career for an executive entrepreneur is exactly what you just said is, hey, I'm great at this. I love this. I'm good at that. Let me consult or let me create a product in all of these areas and cobble together, like you mentioned, what it is that you actually want to spend your time doing and where you're feeling the most alive and valuable.
Ugh, just just that, right? Like I think about the weight of the world right now. And if everyone could just feel 10% more alive and valuable, like we would
Mhm.
all just care for each other more.
We truly
We would
would. And
just
isn't that
we would
what
just
we all,
smile more. Like,
yes.
can you imagine if we walked around with a smile on our face? Like how different this world would feel.
Yes, I can because I'm a pretty smiley little unicorn myself. So yes, I can. And I can't tell you, toxic positivity isn't what we're talking about here. We're talking about people who are feeling really lit up and fueled by the passion of what they're doing. And the number one thing I get from people, it doesn't matter if it's at McDonald's, if it's at I'm shopping at a store, it doesn't matter, is oh my gosh, I just love your energy. Oh, can we just be friends? I love your energy. You have a really warm energy. That energy is because I'm fueled by what I'm doing and I'm excited about what's next. And the minute that gets sucked out of you, which for a lot of us was corporate conditioning, things change. The customer experience is different. Your employee experience is different. Your family life is different. I'm not here for any of that anymore.
Yes. Oh, that's it. We could just hang it up right there. We're done. But I can't let you go, Kristi, without wrapping up with my most favorite question, which is what support do you need the most right now? And maybe we can help fill it.
Oh, okay. I'm working on this. Now, this is vulnerable for me. I am looking for connections in the television industry. I know that I have the personality and the ability to bring something to a live audience. So I am really, really looking for connections who would like to have me on a segment.
Ooh, I like that. Where are you physically located if we could get you on an actual stage for a television show?
Yeah, so I'm in Charlotte and have a show. Will travel. I'll tell you right now, from Kansas City and Charlotte the last few years, absolutely will be willing to travel to make it work if necessary.
Awesome. Well, Kristi, I will make sure all of your contact information is inside of the show notes so that if we've got anyone out there, because you just never know, they can get in touch with you. And I absolutely have been loving building a relationship with you on LinkedIn. So I know others will as well. So we'll make sure that they can connect with you there.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for joining us for this episode of Overwhelmed and Over It. Hang out in our community, The Village. Together, we're solving those problems of how do you build a lead magnet? How do you set up your podcast guesting flow? How do you freaking find your next client? And let's talk about all of the things that are weighing heavy as we're trying to navigate parenting, entrepreneurship, and frankly, just figuring out our lives together. We'd love to have you join us in The Village, all for less than what it's going to cost you to run through the drive-thru tonight, because let's be real, you're too exhausted to cook dinner. You can join us at gabshays.com/village, and the links are also in the show notes